requested a trade from the Ravens organization. Looks like there's a Twitter thread that just went up. Can you comment on that?
I haven't seen the tweet. It's an ongoing process. I'm following it very closely, just like everybody else is here, and looking forward to a resolution. I'm excited, thinking about Lamar all the time, thinking about him as our quarterback. We're building our offense around that idea, and I'm just looking forward to getting back to football, and I'm confident that's going to happen.
Do you anticipate him being your quarterback in week 1?
I do. You know, you gotta plan for all the contingencies for sure, but I'm pretty fired up about Lamar Jackson. I mean, Lamar Jackson is a great player. Lamar came back in great shape last year. He's fired up to play. That's the Lamar that I'm looking forward to seeing. Can't wait to get back on the grass and go to work, and I'm confident that's going to happen.
So you're following him on Twitter and seeing all the posts? And
No, I don't live in that world, Jerry. You know, I'm not a real Twitter guy. Have you seen my tweets lately? No. That's you see it. I mean, obviously that stuff comes through. Guys like Jonah share those tweets with me, so we appreciate it, and it's been kind of fun watching some of that stuff too. So Lamar's great on Twitter. I mean, he's fun to follow. He does a great job with all that. So some of that stuff you get enjoyment out of it too.
How much direct contact have you had with him since the season?
You know, it's a unique situation right now, I would say. It's different than most years. This is a contract situation, so that's probably just a little different than other years. Not as much. So I'm looking forward to getting back, to the normal way of doing things.
Is there a point where you'd like to have a start, John? Is there a point, and I know there's no hard deadline,
Right.
We're a kind of versus team if it's not taken care of?
Well, Albert, that's a great question. I mean, the obvious question is yesterday. You want it done already, but it's just not always possible. I mean, this is the real world. This is big time pro sports at the highest level, and contracts are important and they matter to both sides. The thing that I love about the situation, I believe, is that in the end you got good people, working together. I mean, we've been with Lamar. I've been with Lamar as a coach, and players and coaches and all of us in the organization have been together for 5 years now. We've been through some crazy things, some amazing moments, some tough moments, challenges, ups and downs together. We've hugged in the locker room after wins. We've hugged in the locker room after losses. Those are things that last forever. Those relationships never change. So this is part of it. It's part of the story that's being written, and everybody's writing the story. But I just appreciate that it's been handled with class. Lamar's handled it with class, and Eric and Steve and Ozzie and all the people involved on that side have handled it with class. So that's what I appreciate about everybody involved.
Do you feel like your relationship is still in good place?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When's the last time that you spoke, and how would you describe it?
I don't have a gauge on that. It's been a while. I mean, it's going to have to be. It's just, like I said, it's a unique situation. But when we get back together, and I'm really hopeful that happens, and that's what I want to see. It's going to be great. It's going to be good.
Does it make a difference to you whether a player has an agent or not?
To me, no, it doesn't. I don't think about that too much.
John, if he's requested a trade, will you guys take calls?
To get all the details of that, I'm sure that Eric will do a great job of that, whatever it is. I mean, everybody's talking all the time about everything in this league. That's just the way business is done. So I'm sure that business will be done the way it's always done, But for me, my perspective, I'm getting ready for Lamar. That's what I'm doing. In our offense, we've got a new offensive coordinator. Very excited about Todd Monken. We're in the lab right now, building the offense and putting it together with the terminology and the plays and things like that. And that's what you focus on as a coach. And the rest of it, so you build your team. I mean, you build your team regardless. I mean, we're building our team all the time in all the different areas that you got to build it. And I know, and that train is moving, man. The train is moving fast. But here's the thing. When Lamar gets back on board that train, he's fully capable of jumping on full speed. Lamar can go. And so when that train's moving and he merges in with us, we're going to be rolling. As a coach, that's what I'm thinking about.
So you're literally building this offense still with the idea that Lamar is your quarterback?
Of course. And you prepare for all contingencies, but you build a great offense for your players, right? I mean, that's what you do. And Lamar's under contract, and that's the guy that's the guy I want to see be our quarterback. That's my guy. We made a decision to go with Lamar Jackson 5 years ago, right? Why? Because we love him. We love him. We love the way he plays. We love his mindset, his charisma, his style, the way he is in the locker room. Everything about him, we love him. I love him personally. I love being the coach of the team that he's playing quarterback for. So that's what you do. You build the team around your players, and that's what I'm excited to do.
So, John, you don't see the relationship with him as being past the point that you can, bring him back in, even when he goes public, the trade demand.
No, I don't see that at all. I mean, to me, this is part of the way it works, and however it works. Hey, in the end, when it's all said and done, when we're all, not around the circle of this table right now, we're going to see each other somewhere. We're going to give each other a hug and say, how you doing, and we're going to be friends. And it's even more so that way with the players and the coaches that you work with every single day. So, I don't know what direction it's going to go. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell the future, but I know whatever happens, it's going to be good. It's going to be okay. And I have my hopes, and like I said, I love Lamar Jackson.
So, John, you were unaware of his trade request?
I'm not getting into all that. That's stuff. Those conversations happen. It's private.
John, as a matter of course, when do you begin to build contingency plans?
Well, I mean, I think you always are building contingency plans. It's a good question. You're building contingency plans for every position. You can go out there and something can happen to any player and they can be not there the next day for some reason. So you've got to build depth into your team. We've always been a team that wants to build depth in. So every position we're going to build depth into our team. We're going to try to be prepared for every possible outcome. This is a unique one, no doubt, with Lamar and our quarterback situation, but everybody goes through this in some form or fashion with their quarterback. So this is part of it. It's part of the business.
As a coach, at what point do you need to know who your quarterback is going to be?
Well, you certainly need to know on the day of the first game, and you need to do it at 11:30 before 1 o'clock game because you got to put the names in. So that's I know that's kind of a silly answer, but there is no real hard, fast date. Like I said, in our situation, Lamar is a great player. When he's playing, he's going to want to play great football. He's going to want to be out there at his best. One thing I know about Lamar, he's going to work hard to be the best player he can be, and that's what you plan for.
John, how did we get
a new coordinator and a new offense increase the urgency for him to get there too?
Can you say that again?
Does the fact you have a new coordinator and a new offense increase the urgency for him to get there?
Yeah, I think it probably does in reality, but there's always urgency as a coach, man. You always want your guys there, but the offseason's voluntary, so we'll just see how it plays out with all the guys.
John, how did we get here? Because you guys have said we want Lamar, but how did the relationship and the situation deteriorate to this point where Lamar is literally on Twitter today saying, I request a trade?
I don't really go back and track all that. I think it's natural. I think it's part of the natural environment of professional sports. These are challenging things. There's way more going on, and you guys have all written about this stuff. There's a lot of little moving parts to this deal that go beyond, one player or one team or anything like that. There are pro sports issues with, collective bargaining agreements and all that kind of stuff that matter to people. And I think that's all kind of weaving its way into that, and that's just part of it. So you take it in stride. You try not to worry about it too much and just try to, for us, keep the focus on the things that matter, which for us is football. We're here for football. We're here to keep it simple and get ready to play football as well as we can as a football team. And that's what we try to do.
John, maybe this is an air question, but have you guys maintained contract negotiations with Lamar since the combine or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly how to describe that because Eric's doing that and he does a great job with it. But I know that they're working hard at it and they're trying to be in constant contact. I mean, you're not talking every second of every day, but as far as I know, it's very consistent.
Whenever the last conversation you had with Lamar, what was it about?
We were talking about our coaching staff, and we were talking about the offense going forward a little bit. It was more texting. That's how Lamar kind of likes to work in the off season. But that was it. It was football. Talking about football. He and I are talking about contract stuff.
And John, I know your perspective on this too. How you want to buy you.
Hey.
As far as with the trade request and this coming in earlier, what have you, as far as the context of he can request a trade, but at the end of the day, there has to be someone that wants to dance, and even if that happens, you still have to get something commensurate with what you would feel would even make sense. And if none of those components happen, he can request a trade all he wants, right?
Well, I mean, I just think the business part of it's the business part of it for sure, Justina. I mean, that's kind of how it works. It's just part of the business of pro sports. Those things come into consideration. Those conversations, I'm sure, get had every day with every team. We've had trade conversations with lots of teams about lots of players. In all honesty, and we haven't made one yet. So that's how it works.
You said that Lamar's a guy who marches to the beat of his own drum in a lot of ways. Would you like him to see take a more traditional approach to handling himself with everything that's kind of come out in the past month or so?
One thing I learned from Andy Reid is and he had a little card in the back of his desk on the bulletin board, and it said, "Don't judge." I think that's really important. It's everybody's got their way of operating and doing things, and we have relationships. And when we're together, we talk about things with all the different guys all the time. That's how you do. That's how you work. And so, but I'm not going to try to judge anybody's style for doing things. I love Lamar, love what he stands for, love who he is as a person. His mom is a wonderful lady. I haven't had a lot of time with her, but I've met her. He's got a beautiful little girl. It's a good family. I just know what he's all about as a person, where his heart's at, and that's what you think about.
So do you feel like the purpose of this is to exert pressure?
I really don't know. I don't know. It's just all. I think it's part of the way it operates. It's part of the business of football.
John, have you ever had a conversation with him as if he does have, no other option is the tag? Will he? Are you certain that he will play under the tag this year?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have any.
I didn't know if you had a conversation with him.
Yeah, no, I don't know anything really. So.
How limiting has this situation been in your ability to kind of build a roster given the cap constraints, not knowing some uncertainty about the quarterback?
Well, I don't think it's been a cap restraint issue because it's a solid number, so we know what we're at. So it's either going to be that number, probably, or lower. If you get a long-term deal done, then the cap number for this year can actually come down a little bit. So I don't think that's too much an issue. And as far as the other part of it, like we said before, we're really building the whole team around that situation. So the situation is what it is, and it's always like that. There's always guys on your roster that aren't signed, and you keep up the business of building your team as best you can. It's bigger when it's your quarterback for sure, but other teams go through it too. So it's just how it works.
John, what do you make of Lamar's time in the company? His trade request in camp.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think Lamar keeps too much track of when the meetings happen and things like that, but he might. I don't read too much into it.
Well, because the reality is that you guys knew this, behind the scenes for a while. I mean, the only difference today is that people know about it publicly today, and it's almost been business as usual for you behind the scenes. It's really the only difference today.
I just think it's an ongoing process. I mean, it's a good point. It's just this is not. It's. I know it's news cycles and headlines and scrolls and stuff like that, and that's part of it. And that's really, that's part of the fun of sports, right? Everybody wants to see what's going on. I mean, I pull up on my phone and I pull up you guys and see what you're writing about, or see what's going on in Ukraine. I'm really interested in that. I'd like to see that get calmed down, possibly. So I actually look at that first, believe it or not. But that's kind of an important deal. But it just rolls, it's fluid, and it's going to work out. And we're going to get up the next morning, God willing, and we're going to roll, and we're going to be playing football, and nothing's changed in terms of the relationships, how we feel about Lamar, how we want to build our team, the kind of team we want to be personality-wise. Lamar fits us that way, so that's how we're going.
How do you put it back in the box when he says he wants out? He's your franchise quarterback, so how do you put that back in?
It's going to work itself out. Believe me, if we're playing football next year and Lamar Jackson's the quarterback, we're all going to be happy, and he's going to be fired up to play, and he's going to be happy to be out there playing too, and because that's the kind of guy he is. I mean, he loves to play, and he loves his teammates, and he loves his coaches, and I just think that's how it works. Like I said, it's a fluid kind of a thing. There's no periods on any of this.
John, I feel weird kind of answering now Lamar's question. You guys,
Are we done with that now? Great.
You guys picked up Nelson Agholor last week. Just your impressions of him and how you see him fitting into the.
Yeah, Cliff. Thanks, Cliff. Appreciate that. Nelson, I'm just excited to have him. He's a guy that we've had to play against. Former first-round pick, big, rangy receiver, tough player, pro. That's the way he's been described, and we had him in for the visit. That's the way he presented himself. I think he's going to be great for a young receiver room. Him and Bate now, and we're not done. We're not done in there at all. Plus the guys we've got coming back, and we like the guys we've got coming back as well, with Duvernay and Prochet and all the guys. So. But I think he's going to be a good addition for us, and I'm excited about it. And that's just one piece. It's one step.
You kind of answer the next question. You've had a longer time to look at the rookies coming out in this year's draft. Are you excited? As most people see the thing as a deep draft at that position. Have you seen that from what you've seen?
I have. I've seen all those guys now. I've seen like 40 receivers now on tape. So that takes a lot of work. It's like you ask, what are you guys doing? We're not sitting around reading tweets all the time. We are. We're working on stuff. So it's been fun to look at those guys, and I think it is a deep draft for receiver. And there's a lot of guys that kind of fit the way we want to play. And the next step is going to be getting with Coach Monken, Coach Lewis, Coach Martin, and Coach Taggart, and talking about, okay, for what we're trying to build offensively, you know, which of these guys do you like the best in terms of targeting who we want to go after? Because we're going to draft a receiver.
John, as the head coach, you affect so many things in your organization, and you make it sound like you're sort of like letting Aaron just go handle this. Is it at all frustrating? Just like, you feel like there should be some sort of agreement by now?
You know, no. I answer that really actually with a firm no. I mean, I just understand that this is how it works. I mean, Lamar is a great guy, and Lamar's doing a nice job with the negotiations, and I think that needs to be said. People need to understand he's doing a good job, okay? And Eric's doing a good job. And Eric's getting advice from Ozzie and from Steve, and all those things are being discussed. Yeah, I'm involved in those conversations too, so I know where we're at. There really is no frustration other than the natural, normal, hey, this is how pro football works, you know, and it's probably easier than college football. They got the transfer portal. How'd you like to be dealing with that? So I feel okay about this. It's going to be all right. Yeah, NIL. We have contracts, so that's good.
To follow up on Jeff's earlier question, do you feel that the uncertainty of the position negatively impacted you in free agency? Did you hear from free agents, you know, directly or indirectly, that, hey, we don't know who the quarterback is, we're not coming?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think guys don't really tell you everything. If it did, it did. If it didn't, it didn't. I really don't know the answer to that, but I'm not worried about it.
The thing is with Lamar, he's saying that the team is not meeting his value. So this is not a team thing. This is not a Baltimore thing. He's underlining that this is monetary. So what room do you think that there is to get closer to what he feels like is his value, so that this situation can be massaged by the time that you guys need to focus on football things?
Right. Well, to me, that's a very good question and a very good point, because really at the end, that's the important thing. I mean, you got two sides that appreciate each other here, you know, and I think you know, Lamar believes in us and we believe in Lamar, and we know where we want to go forward. So it's a monetary thing that can be figured out, that can be worked out. That's just a matter of negotiating, and I think we just continue down that road, and eventually it'll work out. There's always going to be creative ways to figure that stuff out.
I think we forgot to ask you this at the combine, but I assume Lamar's fully healthy now. Is that the case?
I believe so. Yeah.
John, you said earlier that he's smart, used to beat his own drum, unique guy, a lot of conviction.
I don't think I actually said that, did I? You said that.
All right.
You say he's a unique guy.
Thank
you. Thank you.
At what point, just as you developed a relationship with him, did you sort of figure that out and get a sense of him as a person?
Lamar's a unique kind of a guy. Well, you know, I will say this: everybody's unique, okay, and that's really true, right? We teach our kids that. And the thing about Lamar is a great guy. He's a fun guy. And I saw that probably when we drafted him, and he got up there in front of the TV cameras and said, you know, I'm bringing the Super Bowl to Baltimore, you know, right away. And he was so fired up, and he's there with his family, and I fell in love with him right in that moment, you know. So then when he came in for the visit, we had a chance to talk, and then really every day after that. So, yeah, he's great. He's unique. He's fun to be around. You know, he's a charismatic guy. The players love him. I love seeing him. When I see him in the building, you know, my spirit is lifted. So in that sense, if that's walking to a beat of a different drum, that's a good beat to walk to for sure.
Do you think that's part of this? I mean, like you said, everybody's unique, but people who feel strongly about their perception of the world and then have strong ideas sometimes run into more friction when they make their way through the world and business and whatever it is.
Deep question, no doubt, and probably exactly right. You know, I mean, I think it's probably true. And now, what are the things that makes Lamar so good is his determination, right? I mean, he's been told, you know, not by us, because, you know, obviously we said, hey, that's our guy, but he's been told throughout since he was a little kid that he needs to play another position. Take it all the way back to that, and he's been firm and stubborn, if you want to use that term. He's been firm in the fact that I'm a quarterback and I'm going to stick to that. So to me, that very mindset that you're talking about is the same mindset that's gotten him to where he's at as a football player.
John, I believe T. Martin went down to South Florida. I know his son's playing baseball down there, but did he get a chance to meet with Lamar, talk with him at all?
Yeah, I know they connected in some way. I don't know if they got face-to-face together. T was also with Tyler was down there as well. So, yeah, T got a couple of days off to go down there and enjoy the sun. You know, I was like, man, I felt jealous about that. So I'm not sure exactly what the communication was, though. I think they communicated. I know that.
Pardon me. I know that you said that there's room to get creative, but do you think conceptually that it's harder or potentially difficult to do that, especially with the news that came out with regards to a a representative in his group, reaching out and things like that, if he doesn't get an agent to facilitate the talks, given the inertia that's kind of been there with that happening so far?
I don't know. It probably just is what it is. It's the circumstances that exist. So, again, it comes back to the fact that, we're talking about finances, we're talking about numbers, and numbers can be figured out.
Everything, or Bateman also had to make this offseason that was highly scrutinized. Have you had a chance to talk to him, and do you feel like everyone's on the same page?
Had a great conversation with Shad about that, and about really a little bit about that, and a lot of other things. And he's in a great place. He's healthy. He's going to be running in 3 weeks. He's going to be ready to roll, stronger than ever, healthier than ever. Rashad's going to have a great season. I tell you, I'm a big believer in Rashad Bateman. He's going to come back ready to roll.
What did he say about when you asked him about the tweet?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a private kind of conversation, but he's in a great place with everything, and he talked to Eric also, so it's all good.
You said you've been in the lab with Coach Monk, and how at this stage, how likely is it the Ravens' offense will be? I don't want to say different, but a different approach than it has, and I guess how excited are you about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% likely that it'll be different. It's always changing, but this will be a bigger change, obviously, because we've got a new offensive coordinator, and we've got new coaches in place. T is the quarterback coach, Willie Taggart, and what a great football coach is going to be our running back coach. Greg Lewis is going to be our wide receiver coach. We keep George Gotzi, who just came for the first time last year as the tight end coach. Joe Delisandris as the offensive line coach, and a lot of great young coaches. So it's going to be different. I think we're going to be exciting. We're going to be fun. We're going to still run the ball, but we're going to throw the ball. We're going to be up tempo, probably even more than we've been. We've been that at times. Maybe a little more no huddle, maybe perhaps. But those are all things that we're going to be working in a lot of worlds with our offense, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
John, as far as you backup quarterback, you tendered Tyler. Is there still room where you might think about adding even another veteran as far as backup?
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said before. That's a possibility. It's really, you try to build your team as deep as you can, and I think that would be something that we'd be, thinking about if the opportunity came around.
John, with Josh Oliver moving on, you have 3 great young tight ends, or I guess 2 great, and then Mark. Do you have a kind of idea of who you want as like that inline guy that you have kind of lining up along the line?
I'd say it's to be determined. You've got those guys are all good inline blockers, but they're not. Excuse me. That's not where they're bread and butter, so to speak. So I think Pat obviously, is a great blocker and can move and do some things. So that'll be the task of Todd and the offensive coaches to figure out the best way to use the guys we have, and then develop those young guys as inline blockers as well. And it's moving parts. You move guys around and play to their strengths.
John, with Lamar, he's teased this interview that he has with himself kind of coming up on his YouTube channel. Is it a situation where you guys have like a kind of heads up about what might be coming so that there isn't this kind of blowback or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. Yeah, I don't know. I did see the 30-second tease, is that what you call it? And so, hey, it'll be great. It'll be fun to watch. Lamar's great fun, and it'll be good. So I don't know what's going to happen with all that. I don't worry about all that. I just think about the person, think about the people involved, and I'm looking forward to, like I said, getting back in the grass and going to work on football.
John, I don't know how much you've been in touch with J.K. Dobbins, but how encouraged are you about what he did after the surgery last year and where he may be able to get to next season?
Right. Well, J.K. for sure, and also Gus, probably both coming off those knee injuries, Cliff. They're another year removed from major knee injuries. And they both have had subsequent surgeries, too, to clean out the cartilage. Even Gus had one to clean out the cartilage after the season. And they both told me what a difference that made. So I think those guys are going to be ready to shock the world. I think they're going to come back, play great football.
So on your offensive line, lost Ben Powers. I think everyone can expect that. Who would you say would be maybe the front runner right now?
That's a great question. Pat McCarry's going to be in the mix for sure. Pat can start at any time and anywhere, basically. So he's going to want that, do that. And Ben Cleveland obviously is a young guy that we're bringing along. We've brought some guys in. We got a veteran guy at the end of the year. We brought him from Oakland, and John Simpson, who I think is going to surprise some people. He's had a nice off season so far. And then we could move Daniel Falele in there too and take a look at him. So I think those are all possibilities, and may the best player who plays the best win the job.
You don't know, obviously, Justin. I know you hope Justin Houston comes back, but outside linebacker, the two young guys, Agholor and Oway. Just how important is it for them to step up kind of this year and be part of the mix whether Justin is back or not?
Right. For those two young outside backers to step up and be part of the mix is critically important. You know, that's just, I actually had dinner with those guys a couple nights ago, and we were talking about it, and they are excited, man. They are ready to roll. I believe in those two guys. You're talking about 2 first-round picks. That's what they are. They're 2 first-round picks, and then you've got Tyus Bowser, who's a leader. So between those guys right there, I think that's a good group of young players that we can build around. And then, you know, if a veteran gets added, he gets added, or a guy gets added in the draft, that's fine. But I believe those 3 guys are going to get to the quarterback.
We do one more, guys.
John, when you talked last night, that NFLPA poll came out 5 minutes late. We haven't got a chance to ask you that. Were you concerned about some of the comments that players made about the program? And, you know, how did you choose to address that?
Yeah, well, I mean, that came out after we kind of made our changes, so to speak, and that was something that, you know, was a mutual thing, I guess you'd say. But, you know, I believe in the strength and conditioning program. It's really important to us. I mean, that's, to me, the foundation of your program is your strength and conditioning program. Those guys are in there every day. You got to do a great job down there because this is a gladiator type sport. You've got to be strong. You got to be fast. You got to be well conditioned. And we try to chase that not just in the off season, but throughout the course of the whole season. So, you know, it's a lot of hard work that goes on down there, and by coaches and players, especially by the players, you know, who work hard at it. And it's important what they think. So with that whole poll, we take it seriously. We try to be as good as we can be at everything. We try to be the best we can be at every aspect of the program. So when things like that come out, but even more, Jeff, when we talk to our players one-on-one every single day, we ask those kind of questions and try to, you know, and we listen to their opinions. And sometimes we make changes based on it. Sometimes we say, hey, you know, this is the best we can do, or we have to agree to disagree on this, or whatever it might be. But you're always in communication with those guys. So I was really not surprised by any of it. It was actually a poll that was taken a year ago, last March, the previous year, after the 22 season, or the 21 season. So we had made steps, and I think I'm excited about where we're going with that.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, thanks.